Wow. Unbelievable. LSU collapse after a really strong start. We lose to Ole Miss 31-17. Wow. What do you all think about this game? It's a game of lost opportunities. Sorry about the delay there. Wow. A lot of lost opportunities by LSU. We made some critical errors at some certain times that just totally finished us against a guy like Lane Kiffin. I'm at a loss. I'm not at a loss. I'm just disturbed. Just disturbed by what just happened. LSU should have made this 10-0 early. We started so hot. LSU started so just perfect. We were dominating the ball. We were dominating the tempo of the game. We kept Ole Miss off the field. I remember at one point it was LSU 7-0. We had the ball. We were inside Ole Miss's red zone, about to go up either 10 or 14-0. Max Johnson had only thrown, I think, one incompletion at that point. Very strong start by Max. Completed his first 5 passes before the TDP rushing touchdown early. The birthday boy, happy birthday to Ty Davis-Price, running back. He scores for the 3rd straight game. I think that's now his 6th rushing touchdown or his 7th. Let's look that up. I think that might be his 6th, but if so, that's 6 rushing touchdowns in 3 games for Ty Davis-Price here at LSU. He wasn't given the ball as much as I would like. Only 17 attempts. He did score a touchdown, 53 yards, 3.1 average. It seemed like they had a game plan for our block, for the way that we block for Ty. And it seemed like we weren't willing to mix it up more often. We got some good 5 to 6 yard gains, but as you can see, only a long of 8 yards. It was back to the same, there's nowhere to go. It's back to the same, Ty running against the tide. Still had 53 yards on the night, scored yet another touchdown, like I said, but it's just, it feels like the offensive line were not in the mood to block for either him or Corey Keiner. Corey Keiner, he had a pretty, he had an okay night. But once again, there's just really nowhere for him to go. 10 for 49 for Corey. He had a long of 12, 4.9 per carry. Did a little, he was a little effective in between those. He just had almost nowhere to go, and he has having to stiff arm guys very, in tight, right there, right in his face, right inside, in between the tackles. What I've just watched right here, LSU starting the game with a sick, 15-yard pass to Jack Besh, completing a 3rd down, just going to town, Max looking in rhythm, feeding Jack the ball, and it's a great play design. Here we go. They can't guard Jack. Get him the ball. There you go. But 25th reception this season for Jack Besh. That's tied for the most among SEC freshmen. And that was when the game was just beginning. He ended with 4 for 41, 10.3 per average. once again, just not targeting Jack Bech in the right way, not calling crossing routes for Jack Bech, letting him catch that ball and just explode for yards after catch. We only did that on the first play that we threw to Jack. The rest of the time, it was tough sledding for Bech, and he had to make some brilliant plays like that catch at the end of the game that was reviewed. But, I thought if LSU could create some separation in the passing game, that's where they would win this game. They weren't able to. At first, it looked like we were totally going to. Max started well. He right here. Sam Williams, he wallops Max. Max goes flying down like complete body slam, but he throws a heat-seeking, perfect missile to Trey Palmer over the top, right through two different guys' arms. It's a brilliant play by Max Johnson here. How many yards did that go for? 44 to Trey Palmer. That's sick. And it's so sick because Max takes the huge hit. He stands in there and takes the huge hit. I think Max may have been a little nicked up on that play. I just feel like he may have sustained some type of injury. I mean, it's such a huge hit. Shanahan, Deculus. Let's look at this. Who lets him free there? Who lets Sam Williams free? Because I don't want to blame Liam Shanahan for everything if it's not Liam Shanahan on this play. Garrett Dellinger comes in there. Anthony Bradford's in there for this play. Cole Taylor's in there. Ed Ingram. I mean, there should be enough protection here, right? Who blows it up? Okay, Sam Williams Sr. blows it up, of course, but who does he get past? Bradford's looking back, and I think that might be Ed Ingram. Let's take a look here. Nope, Garrett Dellinger. Garrett Dellinger and Anthony Bradford allowed that play to occur, where Max gets walloped right there. I'm not sure if Max got hurt on that play or not, but it looks like just Max did not look himself today. There was a few plays where it was like his body wasn't agreeing with him, and then he had the play calling not agreeing with him, not using his strengths to the best, for the team. I felt like we need to take more advantage of what Max can do with the RPO action here, and it just seemed like there was too many times we were running him outside the pocket, and there's too many times Max made some poor plays. He missed some open guys. He missed Bech on a few plays, but at the same time, you can't put this one on Max. He's getting walloped all the whole game. And his feet. There's no pocket for him. Look at some of these snaps too. I'm just watching some random play, talking about how the snap sucks, and Max has to go way down here to get the snap before he bullets a slant to Malik Neighbors. It's right there at the 9:30 mark in the first quarter. I mean, wow. That snap is just ridiculous. And that was not the first one today. Liam Shanahan was all over the place today. Don't you think? We got a comment. Nurse Court, what's up? Nurse Court. What's up? What did you think of the 31-17 destitution there, Court? I just feel like everything we wanted to do in this game, just we didn't get enough of it. We only got 53 from Ty. We couldn't block well enough for him to take it to that second level. He couldn't find the holes. We weren't it seemed like Ole Miss's defense, give them credit, it seems like they've buckled up and just have played better. They've made the tackles. You can't really say we completely screwed up in the running game, but it just became a point where Ole Miss was beating us in the trenches. They were out physicaling our offensive line. They were getting penetration. They were getting into the backfield, and it sucked for our offense. Our offense. I'm watching that first drive. That first drive looked so smooth. 6 rushing touchdowns for Ty in the last 3 games. Yep, and it's just. I don't know how we couldn't sustain that, but the reason why, I'm going to tell you, our offense completely just the play calling is so ridiculous. How we could not take advantage of these opportunities against Ole Miss's defense. They're still a porous defense, no question, just because of their improvement. We just let them completely off the hook, and I think contributing to that was the way our own defense was able to be worn down for the game because of how many plays Ole Miss was out there, because our offense kept giving Lane Kiffin and this offense the ball. Matt Corral had so many damn opportunities. I know we had a lot of plays out there too. I think it was the play number was pretty equal. But at one point, LSU were up in time of possession 11 minutes to 4, and by the end of it, I will be shocked if LSU took time of possession back. Nope, we didn't. We still lost it by only a minute, but it felt much more than that. The drives, the opportunities all felt in Ole Miss's direction. 470 to 326 total yards, 266 rushing yards today. They wore us down. Ole Miss committed 12 penalties, and we couldn't punish them there. They committed 12 penalties to our 2. Unbelievable. They converted 5 third downs to our 4. 4 to 12, 5 to 13. And then I'm watching Neil Farrell Jr., who's just an absolute beast all day, making sick play after sick play in the backfield. But that's what I think ruined us in this game. Our defense would make 3 out of 4 plays and be awesome. Our defense would be fantastic 3 out of 4 plays. It looked like we were going to have a goal line stand. 3 out of 4 plays were brilliant. Jay Ward was in the backfield 2 out of 3 times. Neil Farrell Jr. blowing everything up. Ojulari in there. Sage Ryan is even in the backfield. A lot of guys in the backfield making plays today. But then again, on that 4th play, they throw it right at Jay Ward and target him because they know he's worn down from running around tackling so much. Target him. Lane Kiffin is a genius. Nurse Courtney. I'm going to start calling you Nurse Courtney because that sounds weird. Thoughts on that going for it on 4-1 that early in the game? Well, no. That's a great point because that's what I was going to also say. In my notes for the game, it was why the hell did you not kick that field goal to go up 10-0? It's a 2-score game. If it's to keep it a 1-score game or under 8 points, no, just go for it. Get creative, run the ball, or throw some type of smart short yardage type of play to Jack Besh, something like that. Instead, you have to kick that field goal to go up 10-0 right there. You have to. There's a point where you've got to just contain yourself and control your aggression. And it just seems like Coach O's is like, yeah, roll the dice. Yeah, let's go. Let's do that. And I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that. It just it threw the game away a bit. And that's very frustrating for me to take. Very, very frustrating for me to take. Yep. The notes, it says, Coach O should have taken the field goal to go up 10-0 early. Instead, LSU only led 7-3 after Max's red zone interception. Yes. We had a big shot there. A big shot. And then we threw an interception, corner of the end zone. Trey Palmer's got to fight for that ball a bit more. I understand the pass was poor, but he's got to fight for that ball a bit more. Instead, he's just completely aloof, watching when he's right there. Ole Miss pushed us around, you know. That's another one of my notes. Allowing Ole Miss to push us the F around. LSU getting worn down despite tough defensive play 3 out of 4 times. They targeted Sage Ryan early, and Sage, you know, he was able to step up with a few great plays on the ball. He did allow 2 catches, but they were for 15 to 20 yards, I think, total. Sage, let's see here. Sage had 4 total targets, 1 pass broken up, 2 catches allowed, 1 forced incompletion through tight coverage, 1 push out of bounds after a missed assignment where that reverse play where he had to run back and push that guy out of bounds. And when he pushes him out of bounds, Cordell Flott, like, takes him out at the knees almost. It's a scary type of play. It's like, Flott, what are you doing, man? He did have the 1 big pass interference flag, but he was beaten on the play. He made great strides to come up and make them try and score. Don't let it be an easy play. 1 backfield entrance on that goal line where he got into the backfield. Neil Farrell, those 6 backfield entrances, broke up 5 different plays in the running game. Let's see how many tackles for loss LSU's official statistics gave Neil Farrell. Let's see. 3. Perfect. I have him at 3.5. So finally, for 1 game, finally, they give Neil Farrell. Oh, I just saw Besh do the sickest. Oh, man. Jack Besh is something special. But yeah, Neil Farrell, 3 tackles for loss, was brilliant today. 7 tackles total, 4 solo, 1 sack today. But, you know, Damon Clark, 20 total tackles, 8 solo, 1 sack, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. This dude should be winning the Butkus Award. 20 tackles. Here's the thing. He was beaten in coverage twice for about 40 yards, 45 yards total. For a big 35-yard catch on one of them, and then in the other play, a big 3rd down conversion. He was attacked in coverage. He is a liability in coverage. But Damon Clark, he's really figuring it out how to be a linebacker. He's figuring it all out right now. And I expect nothing more from him than just to keep getting better and better. But 20 tackles. Oh, no, it's Michael Deneen. What's up, Michael? Clark was a beast out there. He made himself this year. Yes, he did. 2019, he already proved he had what it took. Nearly 50, I think it was 50 tackles off the bench, 3.5 sacks, 4.5 tackles for loss, a bunch of hits. He had at least 1 or 2 quarterback hits on every one of those top 10 quarterbacks that we faced that year in 2019 as a freshman. As a sophomore, understudy to Devin White in 2018. But Damon he had a really poor 2020. Shockingly poor. But he figured it out in 2021. He's still susceptible in coverage, but what linebacker really isn't, you know? And he's made an interception, had a few passes broken up, so he's spoken for himself in that regard. He's made a few plays to kind of make up for that, but look at Damon Clark being a finalist for the Butkus Award, man. I mean, he's racking up the tackles, Michael. Nurse Court, wow, D. Clark really has been on it. Yes, he has. Nurse Court, bruh. Did you just call me bruh, Nurse Court? That is the coolest thing ever. Okay, sorry. Bruh, please, how many more CBS games do we have to suffer through? Suffer the F through. Oh my God, I think I may not outlive those effers. Yeah, Gary Danielson is how can we say this? He's got cobwebs and some type of rusty wrench that like a maintenance guy is trying to find stuck up in there. But there's sometimes Gary Danielson in the past, I've been like, this guy, I have no problem with him. He's actually making this game exciting. He's making it fun. But then other times it's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Sorry, yeah, I'm moving in this thing. I slammed my damn shin into this chair, moving it. It was so annoying. It reminded me of my years playing soccer, just getting whacked in the shin nonstop. Oh, there's a few times playing football where my shin would get hurt, but usually in football you were falling down on your shins. Usually it wasn't a problem. In soccer, even with shin pads, right in that bone. But yeah, CBS. Luckily this is only the first SEC game for LSU on CBS this year. I swear this is only our first SEC game on CBS, which is odd. Usually they would have LSU Mississippi State on, but I believe that was on SEC Network or ESPN. But yeah, this is, I swear, only our first game. Michael Deneen nailed it. Most linebackers can't cover the pass well. Yeah, I mean, they're expected more now to be able to at least cover intermediary underneath routes and just at least be available to make the tackle. It's more about anticipating that it's coming to tackle it right after or to try and affect it in some way rather than, be Eli Ricks or Derek Stingley Jr. out there. That's not what I'm talking about. Just meaning like they've got to be alive to this. And Damon is alive to it. He's always like there, but he's like, oh shit, like knows he cannot keep up with it. I think he's going to have to really hone in on his cardiovascular stamina because he's been playing a ton of plays this season. If anything is going to help him get that, it'll be playing every rep this season. It's going to make him a better professional. Sometimes us as LSU fans can't understand that, but someone like Damon, who's been such a great servant for LSU, for the university, and then he does so much for the community as a young man, we gotta do right by him going into the pros. And so I think that's why you see him playing so many reps. We want him to win the Butkus Award. It's clear. It's go all out. And same with Butte. We were trying to help him win the Blitnikoff Award, and he was going to win the Blitnikoff Award. He went out with the leading 9 receiving total touchdowns, and I think he was like 5th or 6th in receiving yards. He did not have the most catches, not even close, which kind of spoke to how much he can do with so little. There were some games where he was like 2 for 44 for like 2 touchdowns, and like Butte had a weird season where he just went off, but like didn't really get the ball as much as he should have. But anyway, moving back to the Ole Miss game, there's some things that really bugged me about today. Some missed opportunities, and that includes not giving Jack Besh the football more often, as we've talked about. That includes, we mixed Corey Keiner into the run game effectively, but not in the right moments or situations. And right here, I'm watching a play where we just ran Ty right into a tackle. A play they knew was coming a mile off because we ran it last week a billion times. And I've been saying it all week. You have to adopt and change your tendencies. They know that counter tray's coming, Mashburn's coming over there. They're going to figure out a way to stuff it. And I know you want to run it to see how well you can do, but there was already a few plays where it had been stuffed. You got to get creative. Literally pitch the ball outside wide to Ty all of a sudden with Mashburn as that lead blocker right there. Like they think it's going to be and then Ty comes across and gets the ball, can see everything. Instead of, and you pitch it out to Ty wide with a blocker with Mashburn and a left tackle right there. Boom, boom, ceiling, continuing. There's none of that. No innovation. They never run Ty outside. I don't understand it. Even against Florida, they were just lucky that Marlon Martinez was on and Ty was seeing the holes beautifully, and he was just destroying Florida. Today, they just kept running Ty right into tackles when the outside was open. I just watched it right here, right in front of me. Let's see this. So watch this. See, watch this. Look at out here. Just pitch it wide. Oh my God. Just pitch it wide. Just give it wide to my man Ty. You know, like, it's really not that tough. I'm watching it again up close. I'm trying to be honest. Like, okay, would that have worked? It totally would have worked. It's open. I don't know why we're not calling it. I don't know why we're so obsessed and so freaked out with not calling these types of plays with Ty Davis-Price. Why we can't run it out wide with him. Why? He has the speed. He can pull it off. He just ran for 287 yards. He's not a burner. I'm not saying he's work done. But you saw what he did against a pretty fast SEC defense in Florida. They're a shitty defense, but they're pretty. They got some speed on that defense. He was burning people. Michael Danielson has Saban fever. It's uncurable. Michael, my Long Island brother. I love it. Nurse Court says he's a dick, and they were so all about Ole Miss. The penalties alone, it was ridiculous. I know. They were obsessed with Ole Miss. Everything, no matter what was happening, it was Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. But, you know, if you think Lane Kiffin has any shot for the LSU gig, if you think he has any shot, he definitely did himself a lot of favors today. Because LSU's defense were making 3 out of 4 plays. Like I said, that's why Ole Miss, it took them until the last few minutes to finally put up 38 on us, which is pretty low for Ole Miss. And so LSU's defense were actually had a pretty good game, except for not forcing turnovers. They were making plays in the backfield, doing stuff like that. But watching that red zone interception, it just hurts me. It just hurts because we had Ole Miss right where we wanted them. 7-0. Their backs against the wall, and right here I'm looking at the design. You got Mashburn as a tight end, Ty to the left of Max in the shotgun. You got Trey Palmer out wide. You got, is that John Trey Kirkland down there, or is that Devontae Lee? If that's John Trey Kirkland, I'm going to lose my mind because he did not play today with any That's Dre Jenkins. First, I'm asking, where the hell is Jack Besh? That's what I was talking about on the pregame last night. Why in the red zone when we don't have Keishawn Butte would you take Jack Besh off the field? Why? Put him out wide. Trey Palmer's not a threat. Dre Jenkins is not that big of a threat. I get it. He caught 3 touchdowns last game, but I'm saying they're not that psychologically worried. But if you put Jack Besh out there and then you got Mashburn in there tight as a tight end, you could put Jack Besh in tight as a second tight end too, and then motion Besh out wide. That's exactly what I would do. Totally get your mismatch that way. But there's just nothing. There's nothing. There's no fear right here for Ole Miss's defense. But also, Max, he evacuates the pocket a bit too soon here. And he leaves an open space in the middle of the field, an area where he could totally attack with his legs. I'm wondering what's going on here. Look at that. It's so weird. Sorry, I'm petting my dog and I know it's so weird. What is this, baby? I have to figure that out later. Michael Deneen, got to go back and take care of Papa. Always a pleasure, my friend. Good night, Lon and LSU people. Peace out, Michael. Thank you for joining us, brother. Nurse Court with a Manning kid being there. Nothing good about this crap, but we ain't getting that kid. I'm cool with it. Definitely not on the Manning train. The legacy at Ole Miss. Yeah, I don't think LSU will get Arch Manning, and it's okay because here's the thing: we got Walker Howard, we've got Garrett Nussmeier already, and that's not even talking about the current quarterback, Max Johnson. So you got Max Johnson right here, who's thrown 20-something touchdowns, and only let's look at Max's total career stats right now. That was another question that Michael Deneen asked: is why isn't Max Johnson able to capitalize? He has 20 touchdown throws to 5 interceptions. And today was one of the first days in a long time. I think his first game as a starter that Max did not throw an LSU touchdown pass. He was 13 of 21, threw an interception, 110.8 rating. Wasn't horrible. Yeah, Max did not have a bad game, but he missed some big opportunities, and I think he was getting knocked around too much. I think he's evacuating the pocket too soon on plays when he has time, because he's a young quarterback. He hasn't played. Everyone thinks he played all through 2020 as a starter, like he had so much experience. This is a kid who was just thrown in there at the end of games, thrown to the wolves, and somehow he was able to deliver for LSU. And then he's continued to deliver throughout 2021, even though he's had no running game until the last few weeks, no offensive line until a couple games, and still was getting messed and hit around all the time, having his feet stepped on. I'm watching plays where the snap is way down to his ankles. I'm watching plays where the snap is up over here. We all saw the play where the snap went back for 20, 25 yards or something on us a few games back. I can't remember which game that was, but Liam Shanahan has not had a good season, and therefore, when the center is not having a good season, usually the quarterback's not going to be having a great season either. Usually there's a correlation there. And I think Max has actually had a great season for LSU if you actually look at the numbers. Max has thrown 20 touchdown passes. 20 touchdown passes. I think that might be, tied for 6th or 7th in the nation even, after this week. It was tied for 5th before. Just right behind Bryce Young. He was neck and neck with Bryce Young until the last few weeks. There is, I do have information that Max may have been nicked up, but I'm not sure about that. I can't confirm that. I'm not sure. And I don't really, I know it was not the perfect environment for him to be successful today. It wasn't a good environment for him to throw the football because the offensive line was being completely disrupted. The play calls were just atrocious. And then when there were open windows of opportunity, because of everything that had happened before, it kind of would sully what would come after. And so you've got one domino dropping and it continues. One thing muddies and bleeds into the other. And it was a poor outing for Max. It sucks. I'm a big Max supporter, but I think he can totally improve from this, grow from these tough outings, these tough games where he's got no running game going. I mean, we did 77 yards. Okay. 77 total yards. Yes, TDP and Corey, they ran for 49 and 53. TDP for 53, Corey for 49. But we had 25 yards loss as a total. Nussmeier lost 16 yards. Max lost 8. But really what lost us this game was the allowance of 266 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. We were able to really, get gashed at first, but still hang in there and kind of hold our own and make some plays here and there, make some great tackles in the backfield. And then we'd get burnt on the next play. Such is the genius of Lane Kiffin's play calling. If anything could ever really prove the reason why Lane Kiffin would be a great candidate for the LSU football job, it's right here with his play calling innovation. You can't question that. He is an incredible play caller, and he knows exactly when to hurt a defense. He knows exactly where to hurt the defense, exactly how to hurt the defense. Back-breaking play calls. I mean, we were allowing 8.3 yards per rush to Ole Miss when we were up with a 7-0 lead in the second quarter. That's when we were having our dominance, and we just, oh man. And our defense were making so many tough, hard-nosed plays. It just could not. When your offense is giving Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral the ball this much, it's basically like handing them the game. And we only lost by 14, and it's very representative of what happened in this game. Ah, God. What do you all think about this game? What do you think this means? What do you think this means about the head coach? What do you think this means about Orgeron's era? What do you think this means about the future? What does it mean about certain players? I think that's what I'm really trying to focus on most here is the players and what it means to me about the future of this team. I think Corey Keiner is a great future with LSU. I think you saw Greg Penn getting a lot of minutes randomly. He had some reps out of nowhere in the second half, and Greg Penn was making some plays. I want to see. I know he had at least one tackle for loss. Let's take a look at Greg Penn's stats here. Oh, it says no tackle for loss, but 2 tackles for Greg Penn. But man, Neil Farrell Jr. was forcing that intentional grounding right there. I think that's where he got the sack from. God, he was all over the field today. I love what Neil Farrell Jr. is doing. That's why he's consistently made a few of our top 5 performers this year. What a play from Damon Clark. That sack is unbelievable. That sack is special from Damon Clark. That play where he goes side to side, comes just relentlessly flying at Matt Corral to the backfield and just whips him around. I mean, Damon Clark is a madman. Nurse Court says, I've never thought Arch was coming to LSU. That was always going to be a reach for Orgeron. kind of like Nuss had to do this afternoon. Oh, you mean like kind of like Nuss bringing the team back in the game? I don't think Nussmeier was put out there to bring the team back into the game. I think that was totally LSU waving the white flag, which to me is pathetic. Even if Orgeron says after the game they put Nussmeier in there to solve something, I think it was because either to protect Max or to wave the white flag. DJ, to me, Max hold on to the ball too long. Receivers are wide open within 10 yards for a check down, but he holds it waiting for somebody 30 yards down the field to uncover. You know, DJ, there are a few plays where I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it where it's like they're there. But I can only chalk that up to the desensitizing way that this offensive line has had on him of just there's always got to be someone I've got to escape from. I've always got someone that's gonna just about to hit me. You know, he's probably been surprised by a billion hits already because of this offensive line's ineptitude. He looks and sees that this guy is totally like getting dominated by Ed Ingram, and he's like, okay, I'm good. And then all of a sudden, like he's probably had that happen to him a bunch. So now he's like, okay, I'm in a clean pocket. Oh, wait, no, it's not. No, I need to run. And it's like, actually, no, you just ran right into the sack. And there was a wide open guy. I think that's what happens. And I think that's what causes a domino effect is bad team offense. And, Max made some poor plays today, just like last week. He's definitely had a few bad games here. But at the same time, the offense hasn't really helped him too much. Florida, I thought it was great for him to kind of be able to sit back, throw some touchdown passes, and not have to have everything on his shoulders, all this pressure all the time. He's still a young quarterback. And it feels like LSU has kind of just continued to just put that pressure right on his back. We didn't establish the run early enough for me. We were throwing it at some dumb times instead of running the ball, and we're just not calling the right running plays. We're not running it out to the outside like I've said before. It's not enough. Nurse Court says there is something to be said recruiting-wise. That guy sitting in the kitchen doesn't seem like trustworthy to me. That guy sitting in the kitchen? What? That guy sitting in the kitchen doesn't seem trustworthy to me. I don't know. Oh, yeah, the offsides. That was fantastic. Nurse Court says Nuss had to do what Max kind of had last year. Just getting thrown out there is what I mean. Absolutely. I really don't like that for a freshman. I'm not a big fan of that. I think there's some coaches who think that's the best way to kind of break in a new quarterback and just throw him in there. I don't like that at all. Adrian Perkins, A Diesel. What's up, bro? AD gave me these. Boom. Adrian says the next head coach has to be a program builder that knows how to create and maintain a culture. Can't argue with that one bit. And that's why James Franklin cannot be the head coach, along with a few other guys. Jimbo Fisher, he's been mentioned. No. I think there's only two guys. Well, we'll say three. I'll say three guys who could get this job. And I know his name is on the outskirts, but I think Lane Kiffin can still get this job. I think he is just that much of a genius. I think he is warranting that much control. He wouldn't just come here as an offensive coordinator. Of course, he would have to be the head coach. He would have to control so much of the decision making. I just can't believe LSU threw this game away. I mean, we were really sitting pretty here. Nurse Court says Lane Kiffin. DJ, can we just give D. Clark the Defensive Player of the Year already? Hell yes. I think it's hilarious. I made a thing, top 5 performances versus Florida for LSUODYSSEY.com. On that, Damon Clark had 79 total tackles. I made the saying how soon, we know he's going to get to 100 tackles on the season. The only question is how soon will he get there? Wow. Well. He just barely missed there. 79 total tackles from last week as of the Florida game. He ended with 20 tackles, putting him at 99 total tackles. ESPN has it 80 total, and then they have him only having 19 total tackles today. But LSU Sports has him at 79 total tackles before today, 20 total today. Either way, he's at 99 tackles. He almost did it in one game. And he grabbed his first sack of the year. I mean, what a freak. And he had his second forced fumble of the year that forced a touchback. That play was sick. I forgot about that play. That play was so sick. That's when everyone had given up on that game and had put down their swords, stopped trying to fight, and he's still out there battling. He's still out there punching the ball out as Snoop Connor, I think, is about to score, and punches that ball out, and wow. Forces the touchback, saves a touchdown. If LSU had one or two more things go their way, if we would have kicked that field goal or early on in that game, you can wipe off a touchdown from Ole Miss there. You can give LSU 3 more points. So you got a 24-20 game. Oh, man. You take away that momentum touchdown, you give LSU 3 more points. It's a 24-20 game. And yet it felt like it was over by the time the fourth quarter had even begun. That's the sad part about this game. It felt like it was over a long time before it even begun. I mean, not begun, but before the fourth quarter had even begun, which to me did not feel right. There's just so many beat up Tigers. We saw Jay Ward go into the medical tent. We saw Michael Baskerville go down a few times. We saw Glenn Logan, who's just back. I think he went off the field hurt. He had a sack today, a tackle for loss. Glenn Logan has been awesome since he's come back. And I think he went out, and I think he went down hurt. I'm not sure. Raydarius Jones came in and had 4 tackles, 3 solo. He looked really good. He looked like a very strong tackling guy on the edge there. I liked what I saw from Raydarius Jones. Totally making up for his stupid flag last week. Our defense fought their asses off. This defense played with heart. Jay Ward, 9 tackles, half tackle for loss. He was in the backfield on 4 occasions making stops. He just wasn't getting enough credit for him. Only a half tackle for loss doesn't really illustrate how effective in stuffing the run game he actually was. But here's the thing. You give that offense that many opportunities, they're going to run it for over 200 on you. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, let's look at the stats here. I bet Ole Miss even ran it for near 200 on Alabama. Let's look at that. Let's look at these stats for Ole Miss, Alabama. I want to see this. How many yards did Ole Miss run? They had 291 total yards. Let's see. Yeah, they didn't rush it for 100 yards. Wow. Only 78 yards on the game, I think. Let's see. I don't think this is the total stats. Overall stats. Let's see here. Just going to trust that. Let's see. Yep, only 78 yards. Wow, that's what just won Alabama that game. So yeah, LSU they bug me right now because there's so many missed opportunities across the board here. We could have won this game. But once we made those mistakes early, and once Ole Miss took that 17-7 lead, I wasn't just fearful. I was like, man, we're in a very rough position. Like I thought this is threat level midnight. And then we're missing field goals too. We missed that big field goal as well. Just 1 second. I need to send this message. Corey Keiner was awesome tonight. I thought him and Ty, they were doing what they could against just nowhere to run. I thought both him and Ty, Ty scoring his 6th rushing touchdown in 3 games. Corey, having a big 49 yards, his first game rushing the ball really for the last few weeks. And I think that the two of them were just not given enough opportunities and enough of the right ways and the right plays. Like that throwing play to Matt Corral was so ridiculous on us. When they did this, when they ran this reverse end around bootleg pass to Corral for the first down on Dwight McGlothern, the whole team getting completely bamboozled by it. The next play, boom, he goes for 25, 26, 27 yards or something right up the gut. Snoop Conner. It's just momentum. It's just straight momentum. Kiffin calls that sick trick play right there. I mean, what a way to get the crowd into the game. What a way to try and stuff LSU's defense. And then Farrell comes right back and makes a sick one-on-one stop on Snoop Conner when Snoop Conner has a huge hole. Snoop Conner off tackle is gone for a touchdown if Neil Farrell doesn't make that stop. And Neil Farrell just eats the dude, eats his face right there. Like, I got to give Neil Farrell huge credit. Nurse Court says, Ole Miss may have won the battle. We will win the war. Hell, it's like us beating Bama one time. Exactly. Adrian Perkins, Damone and Cordell really proved last year it was about confidence. Yeah, I didn't think Cordell Flott had his best game. He had 2 huge missed tackles. Jay Ward had a few missed tackles too. He whiffed on that big, long touchdown that just was the back-breaking score. But Flott, I didn't really see it. I didn't really see him much today. I think that maybe speaks to his coverage abilities because there was nothing going his way. But I saw him kind of getting into some really messy rushing situations, like where he's flying into Sage Ryan at the knees, where he's making some missed tackles, making some errors off the ball. But that play looks horrible, where Ely walks into the end zone, and you got Todd Harris at safety there, I think totally making a horrible error. We luck out, I think, because of some holding call, but it's like you knew it was coming. DJ asks, do you know why Coach O hasn't replaced Liam, the center, yet? Every other position gets subbed in and out all game except for the center, and that's probably our worst position. Well, you're never going to want to sub out not only your center, but you're not going to want to sub out your offensive linemen too much. You don't really want to rotate those positions that much. Like, I understand, yeah, sometimes you want to put in a few guards, a few guys for some specialist type of plays, beef it up on the outside. I understand. But for the most part, you want continuity across the board. And the center, above all, should be playing every snap. Seriously. The center should always be playing every snap. Liam Shanahan there's times where it's like, okay, this guy is starting to figure it out. And there's times where I'm just like, why? God, why? Like, why didn't you just go to Wall Street? Adrian Perkins, it was hard to get excited about the offensive line last week because the offensive line is still not great. Exactly. I just was like, everyone's saying, don't talk about our offensive line. Shut your mouth about our offensive line, like Miles Brennan. And it's like, Miles, it's because it's like, finally you block for Ty Davis-Price. Finally you give this man a hole. Finally you give this dude somewhere to run. Finally, you deserve a pat on the back? No. You deserve a swift kick in the ass because you messed it up again. Ty should have had at least 120 yards on Ole Miss today. 53 yards where it was just him having to make every yard himself. And he still scored a touchdown. Just, they're not blocking for these guys. Corey Keiner almost had 50 yards. And he's having to stiff arm guys right in his face. Corey's playing his ass off for the Tigers. Ty's playing his ass off for the Tigers. Some guys on this defense are just battling their asses off. But then other guys just fall asleep, and all the hard work just goes right down the drain. Adrian Perkins, Liam just ain't it. He's not that good. Nope. Sad to say. I don't like saying that type of stuff. Natalie, what's up? Natalie's back. My LSU brother, I know that you do not agree, but Garrett Nussmeier should be LSU quarterback 1. He performed better than Max. Max is incapable to convert, slow and unpredictable. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Garrett Nussmeier came in, and you could say, sure. He came in and looked better. But usually in that type of situation, the person who comes in always looks better. They always look sharper. They're coming in, it's always going to look that way. I knew Nussmeier would come in and throw some darts, and he played well. Nussmeier came in and played well. He made some good throws. But at the same time, Max should definitely continue to start for LSU. He gives us absolute chance to win in every game. But here's the problem. When the play calling is just anonymous and shocking, it doesn't matter how talented your quarterback is. They're still going to make huge mistakes, and it's going to throw away the game. When you have this just faceless play calling, I just don't understand it. Just these weird out routes where the guys are going like 2 yards and then going like way wide. And it's like, do you understand that it doesn't matter whether the quarterback is Max Nussmeier or Steve Young in 1997? Like, they're not going to complete that pass. And even if they do, it's not really going to mean much other than 2 yards. Like, what the hell type of routes are we calling here? Some of the routes we're calling for these guys are ridiculous. And then you add in the fact that, yes, on the plays that do work, on the plays that are open, Max has made misses. Max has had some misses. You have games where your team is going to lose, especially in the SEC. You miss these opportunities where it's not the quarterback's fault. And then you miss opportunities where it is the quarterback's fault. And then you miss opportunities where it's the offensive lineman's fault. Then you miss the opportunities where it's Jake Peetz's fault. You're going to lose games. It's a team game. You win and you lose as a team. We lost as a team today. Our team performance sucked. Not just the quarterback, not just the offensive line, not just the running game, not just the defense, not just like there were certain facets of every part, every phase of the game that were succeeding. Max made that sick throw to Trey Palmer through two guys while getting the shit knocked out of him by Sam Williams Sr., one of the best defensive linemen in the country. And, everybody wants to, say, wow, what a great play by Max there, but then they want to brag on him after that. Maybe making that play, he took some type of hit that may have given him an injury. You thought about that? Maybe, there are times these guys can get hurt. There's times that these guys aren't going to play up to their abilities when their bodies won't allow them. I've been in that position, and that's why I guess sometimes I get a little upset, is because I've been in that position where I'm trying to do something, and my body's not allowing me on the field, and everyone can see you. You're completely naked in that moment, completely vulnerable. Everybody is watching this moment, seeing how you can handle the adversity, and if you can't, which means basically still score touchdowns, still do everything while hurt, and completely just be amazing while hurt, which is not only extremely painful, it's extremely damaging to the body long term. Because I've had the games I've gotten hurt, and then I had success, and then I would come off. I always had long term injuries from them. You can still feel them now, and so do some of these players. It's just we don't hear about it for years. You see Max escaping the pocket too early. You see the offensive line allowing these guys in all over him too early. So you got this double-edged sword where Max is escaping the pocket too early at times, and then the offensive linemen are just allowing these guys to hit him at will on other downs. So and the play calling and the directionless bullshit of our play calling makes it so it never helps Max out. When he's escaping, he's always escaping towards an area that doesn't favor his left arm. He's never escaping to his left. Notice that he's always escaping to his right, having to go back like that. It's not conducive to success with a left-hander. Adrian Perkins, let's talk about our head coaching hot board. You know my number one choice. Yeah, AD is a big supporter of Billy Napier. Adrian Perkins is a huge supporter of Billy Napier, and I love Billy Napier too. I think he is more than capable of doing the LSU job. More than capable. But from the intel I'm hearing, and that still has not changed over the last few days, even over this weekend, I'm hearing some more with one of these names. But the three names I just continue to hear just nonstop, and maybe you've heard this from someone else, I don't know, but the source I have is somebody who is in LSU's athletic department, somebody who is a part of this coaching search, somebody who has actually been on a staff with one of these coaching candidates. God, it sounds like I'm farting. That's the only hint I'm going to give you. But at the same time, this source believes that Mel Tucker, Lane Kiffin, and Billy Napier are the three candidates for this job. I'm not sure if it's breaking news or whatever. I mean, it's not. Obviously, it's just whispers. But the three names that LSU are heavily looking into: Mel Tucker, Billy Napier, Lane Kiffin. I asked this source about these rumors about Mike Tomlin, some other NFL names, but Mike Tomlin's name greatly interested me. I know it probably interested you. So I asked some people about Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's name was said to be someone that they were definitely looking into, just like someone like Nick Saban, because that's what I was told was obviously when we're doing this type of a search at this moment in LSU's history, you look at everybody. And I said, "You mean everybody?" And the answer was everybody. So, and I think with the laughing at the same time, that meant Nick Saban has been on the phone with Scott Woodward. And I believe Nick Saban, if he rejects that job, would just basically push Scott Woodward towards hiring Mel Tucker more than anything. It wouldn't be like, yeah, because Jimbo's my assistant, go hire Jimbo. No, I think Mel Tucker is the type of guy he would want LSU to hire, but we should not be hiring based on the recommendations of Nick Saban, a rival. You know, it's not like, oh, Scott Woodward hired the person that Nick Saban recommended. That means such an honorable. No, we shouldn't fall into that trap. A recommendation from Saban, okay, whatever. I want the right guy for this job. Whether he worked for Saban, whether he didn't. It just seems that they tend to work for Saban. But here's the thing that I also liked about Coach Ed Orgeron not working for Nick Saban was there's a type of spit at the feet, hold your ears if you don't want to hear the F word. There's a type of spit at your feet, fuck you, roll tide, you dumbass type of mentality. Just like, I'm not going to roll tide, fuck you. I'm not going to let you walk all over us. I'm not going to honor you. I'm not going to respect you too much. I'm not going to kiss your ass like so many programs do. And you see it. Kirby Smart, no matter how much they're in the game, still can't beat Saban. Dan Mullen, no matter how much they're in the game, he still can't beat Saban. I don't think Dan Mullen's ever worked for Saban either. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but just from my memory, I don't think Dan Mullen has ever worked for Nick Saban. I would be shocked if Nick Saban would have hired someone like Dan Mullen. But there's so many guys that are capable of this job, I believe, capable of filling the shoes. But I think there's only a few who are capable of winning a championship and cultivating a brilliant, unstoppable program that is potential for a dynasty that could rival Alabama. And that should be the aim. Anything shorter than that, and I don't want you in that athletic department for LSU. You should be competing to have a dynasty that rivals Alabama, that says basically every year, if we beat Alabama, we're winning the national championship, and we're going to rub it in their face. If Alabama beats us, yeah, maybe they'll win the championship. But it's back and forth like that. We got to just now take it over and just go from here. That coaching hire has to be about beating Saban. It can't be about accepting Saban's, seconds, And I'm not saying Mel Tucker or Billy Napier or anybody who's a candidate who worked for Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin as well, are seconds. It's just, we cannot just, I don't want to see a deference to Nick Saban here, especially if he's not going to accept a job coming back here. If he wants to come back to LSU, we'll take him anytime. But if he's not, then hang up the phone on Nick. Courtney, Nurse Court, not lame Kiffin. Shit, that's funny and not intentional. Mullen is an Urban Meyer disciple. Yeah. Makes sense. Out to Boot says, I want to see us get Byron Leftwich. That's an intriguing name. That is intriguing. Out to Boot says Byron Leftwich. Wow. Byron Leftwich, he's had quite the career both on and off the field. And now, what he's done with Tampa Bay, it's kind of risen that profile, of course, but he's been around the block as a young coach. Don't forget that. I mean, let's look at all these coaching jobs he's had. He was at Arizona, the quarterback's coach. Then he was the interim offensive coordinator 2018, and then he was Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator from 2019 on under Bruce Arians. So he's basically worked with Bruce Arians everywhere. He's basically all Bruce Arians in. That would be a school of thought of football that I would love, a brand of football that I love, Bruce Arians football. I'm fine with that. Byron Leftwich, that's interesting. That's interesting. Would he want to recruit again? Has he ever been a recruiter? Let's take a look at it. No, he's never coached in college. So I don't know. Would he even be interested in coaching college? That's the thing you've got to realize about these guys. If you look at this, he's been at Arizona and he was the interim offensive coordinator in 2018. And he's got an untouchable gig under Bruce Arians. He's always going to be Bruce Arians' offensive coordinator now, winning a Super Bowl under him. So I don't think he would want the LSU job, and I don't think Woodward would hire him. I mean, Byron Leftwich to lead the LSU program. You got to think about the personality, the command they'll have, the respect they will garner. Byron Leftwich, he has all of that, but at the same time, does he have the pedigree of a Lane Kiffin as a head coach, or as an offensive mind, or as an X's and O's guy? I don't think so. Does he have the type of program building ability that Billy Napier has? I don't think so. Does he have the longevity and the hardworking mentality of a Mel Tucker? I'm not sure. Mel Tucker, what he's doing is pretty special right now. Of course, watch. I'm going to look up the score for Michigan State, and of course, they're probably losing. Let's take a look here. Ooh, Alabama in a dog fight. Sorry, I got the LSU game going on again. In a dog fight against Tennessee. Wow. That is awesome. That is awesome. Lose, you bastards. Lose, you bastards. That Illinois game and Penn State, 9 overtimes. That was nuts. Did any of you watch that earlier? That was unbelievable. That was the game that woke me up. It was nuts. Unreal. 9 freaking overtimes. I love that score. Michigan, they're quietly going to be in the top 5 here. That's nuts. Yeah, but anyway, Michigan State didn't play this week. I was wondering. I couldn't even see the list there. So here's the thing. With LSU's head coaching search, we have time to make this decision the right way. We have time to figure this out the right way. But I get it. LSU fans want blood now. They want the guy now. But it's frankly the names we're looking after. It's going to take clear until the end of the season, and that's why an NFL name is so unlikely, because Byron Leftwich might be coaching with Tom Brady until February 5th or 6th or whatever the date is for the Super Bowl. Do you really want that for the next head coach? Walker Howard coming in, all these offensive talents coming in, Will Campbell, offensive lineman coming in, but no, the offensive coordinator or head coach won't be coming in until that late. I don't think that'll work. We need somebody in as soon as possible. We need a new head coach so quickly. I mean, it would be great to have that guy right now. It would be great to have that guy in place right now, coaching games even. Just because this team isn't going to be broken up immediately right here. There's going to be some guys going to the NFL. There's going to be some guys who are graduating. But there's a lot of guys who still have that extra year of eligibility. A lot of guys who are going to use it. A lot of guys who might be able to go to the NFL but will stay another year thinking they can grow their stock. There's going to be a lot of that type of stuff happening. But there are going to be transfers. I was told by a very good source who's usually not given to shitting their pants type of innuendos, but they said, look at the roster from 2020 to 2021, and that's about what it will look like coming into this year. It'll have a very different tone to it. So he thinks there's going to be some major guys who do leave. That kind of worried me, but I think LSU can absorb the loss. If you look at the recruiting, if we can pull off Walker Howard, Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Bo Bordelon on the offensive line, that's huge. If we can try and get Julian Armea, if we can get this guy in there, if we can get Julian Armea in alongside tight ends, Jake Johnson, who can also be a freakish receiver, Mason Taylor, who's also looking like he could be a freakish receiver, hybrid as well too. That's a lot of beef along the front that I love. I think that's a strong class for 2022 along the offensive line and tight end spot. But how much will this class be decimated or ruined by the new head coaching hire or the head coaching being fired with Coach O? I'm not sure. I've talked to many recruits, and a lot of them have said that even places like Go 24/7 have been reporting their reactions without their permission, and they did not want a lot of their reactions to be shared. The overall tone, I will say this, is slight hesitancy, but a willingness to not only find out where LSU is going to go with this, but ride or die with the program, because it's more about the program that they're into. It's more about the roster that they want to play around some of these guys. They're friends with a lot of the guys on the team. There's shared friendships across the board. So that's something that they're wanting to do, and I think that'll make guys like Quincy Wiggins still, in the end, commit to LSU, even though there's so many suitors. But losing a guy like Quincy would be a tough blow, even though I feel like LSU are still in pole position. Alabama are right there. Texas are right there. Florida are right there. And I really don't think there's anyone with too much of an edge outside of LSU, just because of the close proximity with Quincy, the ability to see him more than anybody, the amount of times he's come in, the amount of friends he has locally from this class, who he will be playing with. I think Quincy, who's very good friends with Mason Smith, I think you could give LSU the edge, but call LSU the front runner, but be very hesitant to say that he's a lock or anything like that. I don't know how much the new head coach will depend on that, to bring in a guy like Quincy Wiggins, but knowing who your defensive coordinator is, knowing that Andre Carter is still going to be in there, that's a big deal. You lose that, you might as well say goodbye to getting Quincy Wiggins in there. That's why getting a new staff in there is so crucial. I think you wipe the slate clean outside of a few guys. You keep Andre Carter, the defensive line coach. You keep Corey Raymond, cornerbacks coach, of course. You keep Mickey Joseph, wide receiving coach, assistant head coach, and Corey Raymond also recruiting coordinator as well. You have to keep Corey Raymond. Corey Raymond is absolute Miyagi at what he does. Love Corey Raymond. Any suggestions of getting rid of Corey Raymond are foolish, ridiculous, and made by pathetic Nazis. I will just say that. But you keep those three. So you keep Andre Carter, Corey Raymond, and you keep Mickey Joseph. Sorry, you can hear Rivers snorting. I'm petting him. Hey, buddy. Yeah. I don't know. Outside of those three coaches, though, I feel like those three are the automatic that you keep. And then outside of those three, I don't think you keep anybody else. I think you obviously keep Austin Thomas as general manager, no question there. But there's a lot of guys that are not pulling their weight here. Offensive line coach Brad Davis, you have to keep him as well. So offensive line coach Brad Davis, Mickey Joseph, wide receiving coach, Corey Raymond, cornerbacks and recruiting coordinator, and Andre Carter, defensive line. Hell, you could make Corey Raymond the defensive coordinator. Do you think he's ready for that? Do you think he could be a defensive coordinator? I mean, that's interesting to me. Let me put that out there. Do you think Corey Raymond could be a DC? Do you think Corey Raymond could be a DC? I want to know. Penn State University struggles way too much on offense for me. And it's not just that. I know all we care about is on the field stuff. And hey, Rivers, what's up, buddy? He just rose out of nowhere. Nurse Court says think it's very unfair to expect them to come with unknown coach staff. Woodward knows he's got to get his shit together. Portal going to be portal. Yep. That's why it's got to be so fast. That's why I'm kind of worried. Is like just all that I'm hearing is people are going to go. They need to know. We got to have that bridge to the next coach very with a lot of immediacy. But any suggestions of James Franklin being LSU head coach? Just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. Forget about James Franklin. Forget about James Franklin. Not only is he really not even a good coach, James Franklin is a guy who loves to silence his players when something horrible goes down. He's had 2 Title IX complaints against him. One was where he was shown footage of a gang rape of a woman by a player. The player was remorseful, was crying, was telling him he wanted to do something about it. He wanted to turn himself in, basically. James Franklin, instead of just helping the young man turn himself in, put in the evidence, he protected the criminals here and said, delete that video. Those are all allegations, but it's very interesting that when asked by media outlets, James Franklin denied that he ever saw footage of the rape. When asked by his own team, he denied seeing footage of the rape. He testified under oath that he saw footage of the rape. So James Franklin is for sure a liar. Okay, second incident. There was some type of incident with a knife of some sort at Penn State. The first incident, the gang rape happened at Vanderbilt. Some type of fight or something with a knife at Vanderbilt at Penn State. And he told all the players to be silent about that incident as well. So this is a guy that if we're talking culture, if we're talking being real, if we're talking about being a human being, this is a guy that get him out of here. Get him out of here. You can't You can't allow him to be on this team. You can't allow him to lead this team. You can't allow him to be the head coach. It would be a horrible decision to let him be the head coach. And then Mario Cristobal. I keep hearing this guy's name, Mario Cristobal, Mario Cristobal, Mario Cristobal. You can hire him if you want to. You can think that he's the flavor of the month. All I hear is that this guy is like a wannabe Les Miles. That's all I hear, is that he's a wannabe Les Miles, which immediately made me go like, what? Why? How? The guy is just aloof. The guy is just off in fantasy land, fantasy world. And he has a very creepy, weird lifestyle that I will not get into. I don't want to be sued, but allegedly he has a creepy lifestyle. I'm not too sure about Mario Cristobal, but hearing that he's a wannabe Les Miles, hearing that he has a creepy lifestyle, you hear Les Miles, you hear creepy lifestyle, you immediately think of sexual assault. But I'm not going to say anything about that. I don't think Mario Cristobal has committed any crimes or anything like that. I just think he's a shitty coach. And I don't really want Mario Cristobal to be the future head coach of LSU. Neither do I want the future head coach of LSU to be James Franklin. But am I just mudslinging James Franklin? No. Just takes a simple Google search. James Franklin gang rape. Just Google it. The truth will set you free. There's so many sources out there to back up exactly what happened and where James Franklin screwed up. He should never be considered for LSU. I think his name is a complete smokescreen by Scott Woodward. For Scott Woodward, so Scott Woodward can make the right hire. I really hope he pulls this off and makes the right hire. I think the right guy is leaning more to being Mel Tucker than ever before. I really think so. Mel Tucker seems to be the right guy for the job because he would come in. He's going to be that defensive coordinator. He's going to be that defensive backbone of the team. You've already got that solved. He's a 2-1. He's a culture guy. He's a defensive guy. He's a hardworking machine that you cannot stop. And you've already got the defense solved. You've got so many, you tick so many boxes there. And then it's down to who he hires and how he hires. And I think he would have a lot of good ideas on guys he'd want to bring in to run the offense. But, Billy Napier to me is just as exciting to me. Billy Napier is somebody that he outworks everyone. He outworks everyone. And I think because of him being such a long shot, considered such a long shot for the job, it makes me want to fight for him to get the job even more. Billy Napier is someone who hasn't been given the dues he should receive. Billy Napier is a guy who has built an institution at University of Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns, a place that no one thought anything could have been made of that school. Everyone thought Napier would go there, maybe have a few kind of middling seasons, which would be huge progress across the board, and then take that job, go on to the next stepping stone job. Sorry, my nose is itching so bad, I have to itch it. But he never took that stepping stone. He never took that next job. I'm sure he's been offered it. I'm sure he's been offered that job. But you know why he's rejected that job? Because I think he knew. I think Billy Napier understood that at some point, in some way, in some bizarre fashion, the LSU job would be available. And he would be there, and his buddy Scott Woodward would be the athletic director. And he's just right there. The Tennessee native coaching in Lafayette is right there. And he takes players who aren't even on the map, and he turns them into at least 3 to 4 star talents. This guy, Napier, I'm loving his offensive, his mind. I'm loving his offensive mindset. I'm still getting to know Napier a lot in a lot of ways. But from what I know of Billy Napier, from what I've seen of Billy Napier, from what I hear from Billy Napier, the proof is there that this guy this is his dream job. I feel like LSU is his dream job. I feel like that this has all been pointing to this moment. I feel like his whole career, being there with Saban, winning a national championship with Saban, with Alabama over Clemson, coaching the receivers at Alabama, those long hours, those long nights, recruiting some of the best players in the country, coaching, developing some of the best receivers in the country, and then, going to University of Louisiana Lafayette. No one understood why. Everyone questioned why. Everyone thought he would go to a different job. And then as time went on, he just kept staying there. And he's built something there that's just brilliant. He's built something special with the Ragin' Cajuns. And he's been waiting. And I love the confidence of somebody who's waiting for that right opportunity. Somebody who's a shark waiting in the water. Like he's waiting. He doesn't, someone's walking by. Hey, you want this? And he's like, I'm good. And they walk on by and he's like, keeps doing what he's doing. And then, I know the lady I'm looking for. I know the lady I'm waiting for. And she's wearing a purple and gold dress. That's what I feel about Billy Napier. I feel like this moment has really been hinging towards this. His entire career has been hinging towards this moment, where Scott Woodward will interview him for this job. There is no question he will at least interview for this job. That is what I'm hearing. That is what I'm expecting. That is what I feel. That is what I see. That is what I know from just their genuine respect towards each other. He's going to give Billy Napier a shot at this job. Woodward would never disrespect his friend Billy Napier by not even letting him contend for this job. Got some comments here. Adrian Perkins says, "Yeah, I think Raymond can be defensive coordinator, and I don't think Raymond wants to be a defensive coordinator." That's probably true. That's actually probably true. That's probably true, AD. I don't think he does want to be defensive coordinator. I think that's actually a great. Here's the thing about what I love about AD is AD has been someone I've talked to for a long time because he understands the psychology just like I do. And so me and AD, a lot of our football talk, we talk a ton of X's and O's. We're talking a lot of X's and O's. We're talking a ton of shit like that. But we talk the psychology behind it. And that's why I've always thought, AD is somebody who I have to talk football with this dude because we're on the same wavelength when it comes to the same side, like just coming from that psychological side of everything, of why things happened, how they happened. And it's usually this psychological battle that's going on. It's interesting. Nurse Court says, "What did y'all think about the crap CBS threw up on screen before the game today about why I don't know how that's crap. I think that's just fine. It's the truth. Like we can call it mudslinging, we can call it dragging him in the mud, kicking him while he's down, but it's just the facts, like this happened. They want to show people a timeline of how this happened. It's a national story. It's CBS. What do we expect? I thought it would be worse. I thought it was actually more tasteful. There's a lot more they could have said. They could have said the stuff about his private company being named in those lawsuits. They only just talked about him being named in lawsuits as not reporting sexual misconduct allegations. I actually, for the most part, found evidence of him being good on those sexual misconduct allegations. It was only in the Darius Geis incident and the incident of Jacob Phillips, as well as the incident with Drake Davis, where there are questions. The rest, Ed Ingram, he handled all of these well. Peter Parrish, but there's certain instances where it was what happened here, and we'll get to the bottom of that. We'll get to the bottom of that, but we don't need to have a race about it either, because it needs to be figured out in court, and certain people will answer for what happened, what they did. But I don't think Coach O is a criminal. I don't think he's running a criminal enterprise. But at the same time, if you were to ask me 5 years from now if I was surprised with the Coach O indictments for running a criminal enterprise, I would say no. I know that'll make you probably think I'm crazy or whatever. I'm not kidding. I would not be shocked. That's just my feeling. I feel like there's times certain people get in power and they just kind of lose track of everything. Sorry, my nose is itching me so bad. And they just kind of go nuts. And megalomania takes over. And I think if Coach O, went down so far that this and this and this and this and this, X, Y, and Z happened, then why couldn't L over here happen too? It's just bad decision making is bad decision making all around. But throwing crazy allegations like the Matt Trent one, saying that he had women there with their kids doing drills and stuff, when I knew for a fact that didn't happen either. And there's a ton of players coming out against this guy. It just shows that there's just a lot of bullshit that's been said about Coach O, as well as the truth. So yeah, while Coach O has made some crucial mistakes in his life, so have we all. And the way that the PC apologist, just elitist, moralistic, hyper-moralistic, hyper-judgmental media and the public who feed off of that bullshit, the way that they have treated Coach Ed Orgeron is kind of disgusting. Even with all that I've said, that Coach O could literally be running a criminal enterprise, and I wouldn't be shocked, because for me, him trying to put money from his own to launder money from his company into LSU for the betterment of his players, for me, in Coach O's mind, he wouldn't think that would be a wrong thing to do. And for me, that when I see that, the psychology behind that he's not thinking that is immoral, and really, is he hurting too many people by doing that? Unless it's to keep people quiet for these sexual misconduct allegations. And I think that's the only reason that I really care about this whole thing of whether there's money laundering and that type of thing, is because that's the only thing that it would be used to, with a disgusting, illegal bent to it, is if it was used for that. Other than that, I think that Coach O will probably never go a day in court on those Rosie Finch boys allegations. I don't think. But would I say if I would hypothetically be surprised if something went down? No, I would not be. Adrian Perkins says, if we can't get Napier, I want Tucker. Oh, my finger's not doing it right. The man knows. The man knows. AD knows. Nurse Court says, why should LSU have to be that one to have to take the chance? I'm for him getting it, not LSU being the one, though. Napier couldn't have seen Coach O go down like this. No one could have. He is LSU. We all want him to retire from it. Don't see that guy planning just life around it. I do. I think there's a lot of people behind the scenes who knew that Coach O was going to continue to fuck up. there's people behind the scenes who kept telling me, Coach O's not going to be the coach for life, bro. And I was so, oh, yeah, he is, man. And they're like, he's not as popular as you think. He's not as popular as you think. And I was always doubting that. And there's more tension than you believe. There's more every man for themselves type of vibes than people will admit to. And that's fine. In the end, college football is kind of a farm system for the NFL. But we have to rediscover the identity of LSU. The university, the football team, the vibe around being a Tiger. We need to rediscover that, and we've lost that under Coach Ed Orgeron. We saw the greatest declaration of that in 2019. The greatest. But now we've also seen the worst in 2020, and it could get even worse here. We're only at 500, Court. I am sick. We can't have back-to-back 500 seasons without someone being fired. We just can't. Not at LSU. And it's not even being 500. It's the way we've been at 500, Court. It's been nonstop distractions off the field. With that many bad headlines in the news, no wonder our team play like shit. The Florida game happened because for once the headlines were somewhat positive. Somewhat, at least there was going to be closure. Coach O won't be the coach anymore next year. And there was some kind of temporary closure for them to kind of get on with it and beat Florida. But there's so many damn distractions and a conveyor belt of just bad news and just bad headlines. And if it doesn't stop under the next coach, then LSU as an entire program have been just run in a very unsettling, poor way. I don't think that'll happen. I think the next coach will take a very thriving, top 5 contending program year in and year out and catapult them to the stratosphere. But it's all about making the right coaching pick. And for me, Billy Napier, Mel Tucker, Lane Kiffin, even Dave Aranda. I was thinking Dave Aranda could be a great option. In our first head coaching piece for LSUODYSSEY.com, Dave Aranda is our number one feel-good verdict of that day. And that wasn't a piece me saying this is a prediction. That was a piece me saying this is who I would want to see. And Aranda would be interesting. But no, Nurse Court, I really do think it's not that he's planning his whole life around it. It's just that at some point in his coaching career, when he got to this moment being in the SEC, Saban's dominating at Alabama. Well, who could be there for me? Who's the other team in the SEC who's won the second most championships to Alabama in the college football playoff or BCS era? LSU with 3. Not Florida with 2. Not Georgia with LSU with 3 and a 4th appearance. You think people around the country aren't just like, damn, I want that LSU job. They're salivating. Some people understood out there how for granted Coach O took this job. There are people out there who believed that. There are people out there who knew what was going down behind the scenes, the unsettling stuff that was going on. Anyone who paid attention to 2020 knew. So coming into this season, it was already hot. The seat was scalding. UCLA was the moment when the wheels began to turn behind the scenes to go get a new head coach and put this plan in place. Billy Napier, going into this season, knew, I'm coaching for that job right now. And he's coached his ass off. So, yeah, maybe I got a little dramatic in the way I said it, but at the same time, it's a job that he's been looking forward to, I think, for at least the last 5-6 years. Nurse Court, it's a lot. Disgusting. He is a father, a son, and a grandfather, just like all the guys who play on the field. We all are humans. People forget it. Who are you meaning about that? Oh, Coach O? Because he would fit all those bills, a father, a son, and a grandfather. So, yeah, Coach O, I think it's Shakespearean, you know? His fall is Shakespearean, what happened. Climb to that highest mountain and then fall. The fall is plunge to the ground. In such a quick time, such a quick turnaround. And, you know, if 2020 didn't happen, with the horrible moments of police brutality that we all saw, the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor right there in front of everybody's faces, just there for no one to turn away from. If the pandemic didn't happen, if all of those opt-outs and transfers, which happened because of the pandemic, which happened because of the police brutality, which happened because of all this just uncertainty and just mania that was in the air in 2020. I wonder if none of that happens, maybe LSU only lose 2 games in 2020. You know, Jamar Chase was going to play the season and have a great season. It's weird to me. You know, maybe Coach O's still the head coach, even with a rough season here. It's the margins are so slim. You don't take advantage of one opportunity. You don't reach out to one person in my field of business. You don't have one conversation. There's a certain thing you could have done or accomplished that now you don't have. In that profession, as the head coach of a football team, every second of every day counts in like such a crazy way, in such a ridiculous fashion, that you really have to be on your toes nonstop, and you cannot be content whatsoever. And Coach O got content with 2019. Now, if Billy Napier has a season like 2019, say Billy Napier gets the job and he's the hungriest guy for the job, he comes in, he's all hungry, and then he has a season like 2019, you know, would Billy Napier fall into the same traps? Is Billy Napier the same type of personality who would give in to the rock star vibes and the I've already accomplished this type stuff? I don't think so. That's Nurse Court, that's the thing I feel betrayed about with Coach O, is that Coach O was supposed to be the hungriest, supposed to be the most badass. And one of the first things he said, you know, the day after the championship was, I want another one. Well, now we're talking about the other one. Now we're thinking about the other one. And that mindset has gone. That edge has just disappeared. It's all been about, we need to get back to 2019. We need to get back to 2019. Like he's trying to find Christopher Lloyd with the time machine. And it's trying to recreate 2019 too much. I think really, I knew 2019 could be that thing that could define his legacy and actually also hurt his legacy, like be the thing that like hurts his ability to keep the job, because he rose the standards so high and then the team plummeted so low to historic lows. These weren't just Les Miles lows. We were still putting up points on offense, but just the defense was unlike anything we've ever seen. But all in all, LSU, for me, we either hire Billy Napier, Lane Kiffin, or Mel Tucker. But today LSU lose 40. Sorry. Today LSU lose 38-17, and I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. It's just offensively, we were just pathetic and weak and just lukewarm beyond belief. Defense, we made tough plays. We hung in there, but when it really mattered, we shrank. We blinked. We don't blink and all that stuff. We blinked at times. It sucked. And Ole Miss beat us with death by 1,000 cuts, by 1,000 slices. LSU are now at 500 for the second straight season, and now we are officially, I think it's 9-8 or 9-9 since the national championship, which is the worst mark by a national champion of all time, I believe. Can a head coach come in and just change these feelings, this vibe, this ability to lose to Ole Miss by 14 points, ability to let this happen? Will they change it all around so quickly, not just off the field, but on the field, like really put out an ass-kicking, badass mercenary team? Will it take a few years? I don't think so. I think this program is ready to fire on all cylinders right now, but you got to get the right guy in as soon as possible. You have to get him in now. It's just, I understand he wants Coach O to finish out the job. I finish out the season. I just don't. The second the season is done, we got to have that guy in, announced the next day. Like, I'm talking the next day. I love Coach O. I think I felt betrayed by him. I think it's not. I think I felt betrayed by him because I thought he was going to be our coach for life. And that's really what I felt. I felt betrayed that he took the job for granted. He wasn't as hungry as he could have been. Stuff I've heard from recruits, stuff I've heard from parents, stuff I've heard from players. And here's the thing. The players never said a bad word about him, but some of the things they described, yeah. LSU are in a very weird place right now where the future looks so bright, the past looks a combination of terrifying and glorious, and we've got so many great players on this team who are sick of losing. They're sick of losing games, and they are there ripe for the picking. They are there ripe for the picking. But I want to finish up with going through our LSUODYSSEY.COM MVPs. Okay, I want to see all of your MVPs, but today, my defensive MVP has to go to Damon Clark. 20 tackles, 8 solo, 1 forced fumble, 1 sack, 2.5 tackles for loss. I mean, what a game. What a freaking game. I mean, are you kidding me? 20 tackles, 8 solo, 1 forced fumble. I think it's second game in a row with a forced fumble. A sack, 2.5 tackles for loss. What a freak. What an amazing game from Damon Clark. Unbelievable game. And I think you got to throw in one for Neil Farrell. Neil Farrell Jr., he's got to be on here as well. Neil Farrell Jr., 7 tackles, 4 solo, 1 sack, and 3 tackles for loss, 6 backfield entrances. 3 pressures and 2 quarterback hits. Boom, boom, boom. He's also got to get some shout out and some love. But on offense, I don't think you can even name an offensive MVP. Sorry, talking to Sage Ryan. You know, don't go after the players and you know, give them a bunch of bullshit. And I know I shouldn't. I don't need to tell you guys this. I'm not telling the people in the chat this because I know you guys are all diehard, kick-ass, badass LSU fans who love our players and love this university. You guys are seriously the best LSU fans in the world. Of a really awesome fan base we have already. You guys are easily the best LSU fans in the world. You're always, every day you're looking through the news. Every day you want to know what's going on with the team. Every single day. It's insane. It's amazing. It's that's what I'm all about too. And I feel like this team needs to be better for us, for everybody. It needs to be better for these fans. And it's just the product on the field, just it's got to be better. It's got to be better. Don Cannon's in here. Oh, my God. Whichever way Woody goes, I believe it'll be the right way. Look at Jay Johnson. A lot of people are thinking a different direction. A few minutes later, the guy has coached a game and rock star. Yep. I think Don is completely right. I think it's going to – I really do think he's going to look off the beaten track. And if you think about it, Billy Napier is not a nationally known name. Billy Napier is not the first guy anyone would think would get this job. Billy Napier isn't like the shoo-in for this job either. But I think he's probably going to get this job. I mean, Mel Tucker, I could see him getting this job too, but I think Billy Napier is going to get this job. I've been hearing that type of stuff. Every time they're talking about Mel Tucker, there's a little bit of excitement. Every time they're talking about Lane Kiffin, there's kind of like some laughs. Every time they talk about Billy Napier, it's Billy Napier. Like there's excitement there with Billy Napier. So take that for what you want. Nurse Court, thanks for all the information. Thank you for being here for 2 hours and 12 minutes. That's insane. Like, thank you so much. I can't believe we've got all you in here. This is cool. Think just in my feels about the whole entire thing. Emotional deal overall. You know, it is. And as LSU fans, we love this team. We love these players. We love this community. I should say your community. We love everything that goes on with this team, and we hate to see them hurting. We hate to see guys misfiring. We hate to see coaches being fired. We hate to see our guys feeling down like this. We hate to lose to Ole Miss. Ole Miss should never be beating LSU, not in a million years. And this is their first win since 2017, I believe. Or no, since 2015, I think. LSU have absolutely been kicking their ass. Don Cannon, interesting here. Lane is a terrific coach, but there's a novelty to him we don't need after. Oh, exactly. Exactly. And I think this is what Nick Diaz said one time. Nick Diaz does an LSU thing. He said, we don't need another coach out of Central Casting. And it's like, yeah, it's a great point. Nape may be the long-time answer, says Don. Don is on, I think. I really do think Billy Napier is going to be the guy. I'm hearing a lot of pro-Napier stuff. I'm hearing a lot of traction Napier's way. I'm hearing he's going to be given an opportunity to get the job. He's going to be given an opportunity to win the job. I think there's a lot of interviews that are going to be done behind closed doors, over the phone type of stuff, on the run, just casual, friendly conversations that extend to, do you want the job? You know, they will make the right decision, and hey, if not, we will all be here. That's what Nurse Court said. And hey, if not, we'll all be here talking about it. Hell yes. Please God, please just do. I mean, please hire the right guy. But yeah, our MVPs for the day, Damon Clark with 20 tackles, 99 on the season, 8 solo, 1 forced fumble, 1 sack, 2.5 tackles for loss. Just an incredible performance. Neil Farrell Jr., who sacked Matt Corral last year, had 7 tackles for, I think, the 3rd straight game. 4 of them solo this time. 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, 6 backfield entrances, 3 pressures, 2 quarterback hits. He's been all up in the backfield's face. All up in the backfield's face. Nurse Court says, do you think we should keep in mind the injury situation and recruiting aspect with Texas and OU coming in? Oh, God, yeah. You have to keep everything into consideration when you're doing a overlift like this, a facelift like this, where you've got, the Orgeron era being moved on from. That's a big deal. There's a lot of guys who are going to go who were Orgeron guys, whether on the staff or on the roster. There's going to be a lot of guys who are going to come in, whether they're Napier's guys or Tucker's guys, potentially Kiffin's guys. But I really think it's going to be Billy Napier who's going to get this job. I just keep having this feeling that Billy Napier is going to be the guy who gets this job. I hope I'm not wrong there either. But if Billy Napier was coaching today, he would have kicked the field goal to go up 10-0. That's what I do know. LSU lose 31-17, dropping to 4-4. Thank you all for joining us. What an awesome show we've had. So many people in here talking. It's been a great time. I mean, last week was a hell of a lot of fun. This week was even better because after a tough game like this we really needed some type of commiseration, because this was nuts. This was vile. This was hard to take. This was intense. This was a loss that LSU should have never had happen to them, and here we are. But you know what? On to the next. LSU won't be playing for quite a while here. LSU won't be playing until the day after. Yeah, they won't be playing until November 6th. So that's, wow. November 6th against Alabama will be the next game, and that will be extremely fun. And LSUODYSSEY.com are going to have a ton of content about that, but we're going to be following a lot of the recruiting stuff going on now with this bye week here. We're going to be following a lot of the high school football stuff. We're going to be following a lot of stuff that no one's really been talking about, because we've been collecting a shit ton of info. We've got our phone. I mean, today last night we were like, hey, Sage, can we post this quote from last week that you said about your first game against Florida? Because we forgot, because there's so much stuff that we were posting and typing about before then. So that's the type of quotes we've got just buried in our phone just on a regular basis. We've got so much information and conversations and writings to work with, and so many things that have gone down on and off the field, not just for LSU, but in the recruiting cycle. There's a lot of great ideas that I've got brewing. We've got 6 articles that are halfway finished or to the 3/4 mark, or there's a few that just need pictures. So we've got a conveyor belt of content coming right for you on LSUODYSSEY.com, and this is one of them. Thank you so much for joining us all. Everybody, I know it's tough, but you're the best Tiger fans in the world because you care this much. You keep coming back. You give a damn every day. Great to see Don and Michael in here for the first time. I love it. A Diesel, my man, thank you for joining in. Nurse Court, always. Natalie, Vittori, always popping in here as well. Everybody, thank you so much. Have a hell of a Saturday night. I think it's